This is the new Edifier Comfo Run, a special type of headphones with an open ear design made for you. So if you love exercising and don't like speakers sticking in your ears, well, I took this for a run. Get it? And I'll let you know who is this headphones for and who is it not. Now let's start with the unboxing. Firstly, the box comes in white with the Edifier logo at the top left, the visuals of the headphones in the middle, and the model name at the bottom right. Then towards the bottom side of the box, there's a color variant as well, where black is the only available color as of now. Then at the back of the box, there are some of the other specs, which also includes a visual of what else comes inside of the box. And speaking of which, other than the headphones itself, there's the proprietary charging cable, the user manual, together with the warranty paperwork. Now starting from the design and build, the Edifier Comfo Run has a matte silicone casing that feels pretty good to the touch. It has an open ear design, so that is made for maximum comfort while you wear them. Now, if you're familiar with a bone conduction headphones, this has the similar design language, but instead of a bone conduction audio output, there are special speakers which has a special acoustic cavity that minimizes sound leakage. Now this is perfect, so you won't have to worry about disturbing other people when you're listening to your screamo rock music while you're working out or even in the office, where the sound leakage is very minimal. However, when you're in a quieter environment, people around you can hear what you're listening only if you really concentrate hard enough. Now the control panel of the Comfo Run is pretty straightforward and minimal, with only the volume buttons and the multifunctional pairing button, which is located just behind the right speaker. Then the connection of these two speakers is an elastic silicone covered neckband that sits securely at the back of your neck. So from a hardware perspective, it comes with two large 16.2mm dynamic speaker drivers. Now Edifier says that these drivers can produce smooth, high-pitched sound and deep bass. And I'll give you a proper lowdown on how the audio sounds later on in this video. Then it has a frequency response between 20Hz to 20 kHz and an output sound pressure level about 90 dB. Then the headphones connect via Bluetooth version 5.3 and supports SBC and AAC audio codecs. Now it comes with two built-in microphones and a beamforming algorithm, which allows for clear calls and more on my experience on the phone calls later on, including an audio test. Now speaking of outdoors, it also has IP55 water and dust resistant, so you won't have to worry about having sweat or a little bit of rain hitting the headphones while you're wearing them. So performance obviously won't be typical of other headphones because of its uniqueness. Now the open ear designs means that it basically operates by transmitting audio through two speakers placed very close to the ears. Now this is pretty useful, especially if you're using it outdoors, because it helps for you to be aware of your surroundings, especially when listening to music. However, there is a slight caveat to this though, because while it makes the Comfo Run a lot safer to use when you're on a run, but once you reach a noisier environment, for instance, a busy part of the road, or even in a shopping center, you will have a little more difficulty when it comes to music listening. And this is also because the audio playback on the Comfo Run is a little lower in the volume compared to conventional headphones. However, while this may be a deal breaker for some, but this actually is useful as it prevents ear fatigue, so you can use these headphones a little bit longer without having to take them off every once in a while, as I did find myself almost the entire day just putting it on, just resting just above my ears. And that was the case when I was using the headphones during my testing over a week. And if you're wondering whether this is comfortable to sleep in, well, it's called Comfo Run, not Comfo Sleep, so go figure. Now, as the name suggests, it is pretty comfortable to wear. Now, the silicone neckband rests fairly well at the back of my neck, and the speakers drape securely around my ears. So I was not worried about this falling off when I was doing certain activities like doing household chores, and of course walking outdoors and running on a treadmill too. However, I do feel that people who has a slightly bigger neck or even a longer hair might find the Comfo Run slightly less comfortable, as it might be a little small, or a person with a longer hair might be an issue, with the hair possibly hitting the headphones as well. Now, since I wear prescription glasses too, the good news is that if you do, that do fit very well without any interference too. Then the placement of the control panel is in a position that might take you a while to get used to, since it is positioned just behind the ear, which I already got myself familiar with the controls after the second day of use. Now, this is because all of the buttons are raised and easy to press, and the multifunctional pairing button is raised a bit higher too. Then this control panel is also very simple to navigate, with the middle button being the multifunction button, and this multifunction button on the control panel is used for pairing the headphones, answering or ending calls, and pausing or playing music. Now, before we move into the audio performance, a like and a subscription to this channel would be very comforting for us. Thank you very much in advance. So, how does it sound then? Well, despite the open ear design and the lower volume, the sound quality produced on the headphones was surprisingly good. And now I use this pretty extensively for the past week, and while nowhere as loud and clear as normal headphones, which is to be expected, but they serve me pretty well. They are clear enough for me to fully enjoy my music during use. The bass is well defined, which is also a pleasant surprise. Now, since it does support Bluetooth version 5.3, so there was no audio latency when I was watching videos, even when I was trying to game on this Edifier Comfo Run, since Edifier mentions that it has 0.08 seconds latency. And while I didn't exactly measure that latency, but it was fine during casual gaming. So I made phone calls in a quieter environment like here in the studio, and also more of an outdoor environment since these headphones is catered for running or even walking outdoors. And here is a microphone test on how the audio sounds in different environments.
Alright, so this is an audio test on the Edifier Comfo Run. I am outdoors. There's a lot of wind blowing towards the plants, as you can see. There's a fan coming up from the ceiling. So let me know what you guys think of the audio. So test 1, 2, test 1, 2, test 1, 2. And this is how the microphone sounds in a more quieter environment like here in the studio. So test 1, 2, test 1, 2, test 1, 2. This is a microphone test.
Now, battery life is one of the standout features because of its runtime is quite long, and the fast charging capability is also a welcome addition. Now, the only downside is the fact that it uses a proprietary charging cable, which I personally am not a big fan of, because I do wish that it had USB Type-C connection with an added rubber flap to keep things water resistant. Now, that means that in case me or you lose the charging cable, we can always use USB-C. And as for battery performance, it has a runtime of 17 hours, and the headphones can provide you with 5 hours of runtime with just 15 minutes of charging. And based on my test, I got a few minutes less than 17 hours due to my preference of blasting the volume at max. Now, if you're lost with all of these numbers mentioned and would like to have a recap, head to our website at www.adamlobo.tv for a written version of this entire review. Links will be down below. Now, let's go through the app walkthrough. Since this Comfo Run is one of the new devices to use the new Edifier Connect app, which is not to be confused with the Edifier Connect app released previously. Now, in case the headphones are not in pairing mode, just press and hold the multifunction button, and there will be a voice prompt to say that it's pairing. Check the Bluetooth settings on your phone and it will appear over there. Now, once you loaded the app, the device will immediately be connected. And looking at the home screen of the app, here's where you can see the battery indicator over there. Below, there is the sound effects menu where you can choose between classic and bass boost. Now, I personally prefer classic because bass boost does drowns the highs a little. Then if you're planning on gaming, to help reduce latency further, you can toggle the game mode over here. Next, the player menu will display the music info, the player controls, and the volume as well. Then when you select the gear icon towards the top right, there'll be menus for a user manual, for a digital version of the user manual, just in case you lose the paper one, of course. Next, you can select the volume of the voice prompt, the power off options. Then there is the pedometer, which is great because you can track your steps just in case you do not have a fitness band or anything similar like that. Now, at this point in time, the steps are not counted in real time, and there's no way to look back at how much steps that you have later on. So hopefully there will be a software update that can help with this. Then finally, there's the Bluetooth and the factory settings over there as well. So in conclusion, the Edifier Comfo Run is a pretty solid pair of sports headphones. It might not be as full and loud as other conventional headphones, but the sound quality was very satisfactory with enough clarity and bass despite its open ear design, and a minimal sound leakage is also a huge plus too. It is also fairly comfortable and quite easy to navigate. However, as mentioned, it may not be the best fit for people with larger heads. It also has a very great battery life and the call quality is nice and clear as well, making this new Edifier Comfo Run something really worth checking out. As it comes with a price of only 469 ringgit or 97 USD. But keep a lookout at the links that I'll put in the description below because they are apparently looking to have a promo soon that will significantly lower the price of this device. Now, speaking of something new, check out our recent video of another new product from Edifier over here.